This is actually a Little Red Express clone. It's a clone, it's not a real one. As you can tell, it sits a little taller than probably what you would expect on a regular one. And I'm not very tall, so, you know, it sits really tall on me. It's a four-wheel drive truck that has been cloned to look like a Little Red Express. It's a good-looking truck, but it has a few items that we need to attend to. Well, John, what do you think?
Well, there's an awful lot of Dodge Mopar products in here. Are you changing brands on me? You fought that Plymouth so much. You just fought it and you fought it and you fought it. And all of a sudden, we've got a ton of Mopars running around here. You know, we can knock out a Chevrolet motor in a day. And here we are. I'm concerned.
In case you guys weren't aware, John's a die-hard GM guy, and he really loves Buicks.
Love Buick. Yeah, you're going to have to use your smaller hand.
Hang on, I need the altitude enhancement device. Where did I put that thing? Altitude enhancement device is on hand. This is what I have to use since I'm the Hot Rod Hobbit. All right, well. All right. Looks to be a Mopar small block. Somebody's painted it, and they put decent little valve covers on it.
The color of the block's almost right.
It's close. Edelbrock carburetor. Decent air cleaner.
What would fix a lot of this is it needs more chrome.
I don't know if we've made this very clear, but John's addicted to chrome. It's got this weird overflow. Oh, wow. I hope it was just oil in the jug before such time as this overflow was installed. Well, it does look kind of coolant-ish. You want to taste it?
Yeah, cool.
That's a 22 battery. Damaged ground wire, but we don't care about that. No noises. Got pinched right there. That's... Don't lean on that. It's the interior.
What did you do?
It's got to be lifted. The door's out of adjustment. We got to figure that out. But there's the interior. You can't... Oh, hey.
The dome light works, just like the Skylark.
You know what that means? It's a good truck.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Needs more chrome.
I feel like there's a lot right here.
That don't count. That ain't under the hood.
I am in the truck. Transmission's in neutral. The key goes in upside down. I forgot about that. Mopar keys are a little weird. Hey, it cranks.
Well, we know it cranks. Good healthy battery, a little bit of fuel. See what happens.
That alternator's mounted with an aftermarket setup, which, you know, that gives me some ideas because the Plymouth definitely needs some improvement. Maybe I'll use this as a learning experience for more Mopar knowledge. I am not Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage. I am, in fact, Mike from the Empire of Rust, and we have predominantly dealt with GM stuff around here.
Maybe. Well, let's see. Where's the dipstick?
It's right there in front of you.
Oh, yeah, not on the side. Not terrible.
But it's there.
Hint of gasoline.
So we have oil.
I mean, I might as well stick my tongue in the brake fluid reservoir at this point.
Well, it's right over there.
I don't remember the last time that I had a tetanus shot. I don't want to have a reason to go get one.
So you're telling me that you're hanging around me in the Empire of Rust and you haven't had a tetanus shot?
Nope.
My man. Parking brake engaged. I'm just kidding. We properly chalk vehicles around here. How do you guys like my shop floor extensions? It stops me from getting muddy. So the tank appears to be plastic. This is a fun development. Look at that. Self-tappers. Some kind of a replacement pan. And self-tapper. Some kind of silicone right there. They've got self-tappers all along in there. That's interesting. That's the longest filler neck hose I think I've ever seen. I'm going to go ahead and just try to remove this hose without actually removing the tank. No point disturbing the tank if I could just pull the dadgum hose. I got it out, but it seems it dripped on me. Yeah, I think I told you. I used oil to determine where the leaks were. Seems there was still some in the hose. Look at that split. Wow, it goes all the way down. All right, now that I've done my makeup, I guess I'm gonna go out into town and find another hose. You can see that's a new hose, and it goes down. That's not completely level, but it's way more reasonable than this. So it actually had a pool spot right there in that low area for fuel, and then it came back up and went down. So it seems like we've kind of solved a little bit of a problem there. I'm gonna get a can of gas, and we're gonna test it, make sure it looks decent. Decent as in, it's not pouring fuel all over the dadgum ground. All right, I don't know. I don't see anything leaking from my standpoint. We'll see how that goes here in a moment. All right, there you have it. No fuel leaks. On to the next problems. So, we've got this thing kind of halfway to the point of almost running. I've got a couple more things to do. Primary thing, I got to bypass the amp gauge. Thank you, Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage. Excellent video. Now, old Mopars have a tendency to catch fire, apparently, via the wires. So you follow the red wire. That is jumped all the way around the back. Not really tucked in very good right now. And it comes all the way over here, lands on the starter wire with the fusible link. So all that we need to do right now is go ahead and crank it, put a little fuel in there, and see how well it'll run. I think it's probably going to fire up without too much of a fuss. It's not bad looking in there. It's pretty tidy. The oil is pretty clean. Antifreeze is pretty good looking, and it has fresh fuel in the tank. It's got 5 fingers going for it. Prolific use of the altitude enhancement device on this particular project. We're going to do basically the same thing that we do with everything. We're going to put some dish soap in it. And everywhere else. Let's hook this up. We'll see how this does. Here we go. It occurs to me that the battery might have been sitting for a pretty long time, so I figure I'll go ahead and just put the jump box on it before I go tinkering with anything else, because I think it tried to fire the other day before we had done anything. Let's try this and see what happens. 11.8 volts. Might be just a skosh on the weak side. Oh, it died. I'm going to go ahead and snip that fuel line there, and we will put a filter in between. This will also tell us if there's actual fuel flow, so. No fuel flow. So there's a possibility it may need a fuel pump. John's here. He looks excited. Look at that face.
I think you're more excited that I'm here than I am.
He's just tired of seeing these dadgum Mopars, that's all.
Please explain how the dish soap is going to help. Is that a lubricant for the fuel pump?
This is, in theory, priming the fuel pump. You know, we use dish soap around here on everything, so.
So is that going to make bubbles come out of the exhaust?
It will. Big suds. The kids love it. Okay, now that I've got fuel everywhere and on me, climb my butt up here a little further. Can't reach it that well. This bumper is super long.
Don't fall.
Altitude enhancement device is failing me. Oh boy. I'm totally gonna fall. Let me put some down the barrel. Scream loudly if you see fluid flying out of that hose.
Yeah, about one glug. A little bit. Yeah, it's starting to pump. That was tools.
I'm gonna use all my dish soap on this one motor. Nope. I've got the fuel hose disconnected from the fuel pump and the hard line accessible. There we go, we had a blockage. Definitely a blocked hose or blocked line. We now have fuel coming up to the fuel pump. Now the real question is, where did the hose clamp decide to go? We found the hose clamp. Found it. There it is. Let's see if we try this again. right. I'm not sure, but I think it's taking fuel. It's running. That's half the fight there. And it's idling. Might not need new fuel pump after all. Of course, it might not be a bad idea to put one on, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Not too bad, I'll take it. And it seems to be charging pretty well. There it is. Pumping some exhaust. Hey, it was windy last night. And that soccer ball was on top of the shop. The kids threw it up there, and now it's on the back of now it's in the back of the truck. It's been running for about 10 minutes now. You can hear the exhaust leak. There's definitely a few of them around the headers. I'm told that's pretty normal for these Mopars. I could be wrong, and the people that told me could be wrong, but it seems like pretty common problem. Beyond that, it's idling a little off, but the fuel's kind of, it's a mix of old fuel, not to mention a little tiny bit of old engine oil that I poured down the filler neck to find the leak. Yeah. You guys saw what happened to that. I'm gonna go ahead and try to maybe put it in gear and see what it does. Here's to hoping. Now I'm gonna check the brake fluid and see if it's actually got some. Come on, there we go. Oh dear Lord, it's over full. Now I guess the only thing left to do is to take it out on a little spin real quick and see if it'll actually run and drive and stop and all that. Here we go. I've got it in reverse. Let's see. All right, 4x4 was out. It's moving. Has manual steering, by the way, so that's interesting. Oh my goodness. Not bad. Not bad at all. Still a little weak on the idle. All right, the Dodge is out of the shop. But it didn't make it far. Well, the second you try to give it some throttle, it doesn't want to go. Kind of a pain to get in that first gear. I'm over here fueling the old girl up. I don't want to shut it off because it may not restart, but I switched the vacuum ports on the carburetor. Seemed to be a little happier that way. Did a little more tuning as well, turned up the idle, and yeah. Once this thing's fueled, I'm gonna hopefully, with a little bit of fresh gas, see an improvement in the performance. But we'll see. And that's that. Well, this thing's kind of a handful to drive. It's somewhat more difficult than the Wrecker just because it's a little stiffer to get into gear. It appears the temperature gauge seems to be working. The amp gauge moves like it's discharged, but it's not showing a charge now that we put the bypass on. Fuel gauge, absolutely inaccurate. Oil pressure, it seems to hold. And the speedometer actually works. There she sits. And it's not running too bad now. It's running, it's driving, it's stopping. That's the most important stuff. Got a couple more things to do. Needs a bath. There's some dirt. I'll catch you guys on the next mission. Trust in the rust. Oh, by the way, there's not really much rust except for the parts that I showed you. You're welcome.